Okay. I'm going to use this to set the mood. We're going to go over some of the questions, and then I'm going to pull up a clip of the minister, and I'll let the believers know which lecture I was actually inspired to watch. And it was interesting because in this lecture, based on what I started studying a couple of days ago, there was something in it that was exactly showing ARC to the tech. But what I want to share with us right now is almost like a proof that we already have the tech. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
Brother Luke,
Yes.
I'm a little bit stuck. How is 631 equal 19, sir?
Because if you it's 19 in reverse. So if
You
you take
multiplying?
the 6 and the 3, that gives you the 9,
Okay.
and then you have the 9 and the 1,
Yes, sir.
and it's just
Okay.
19 in reverse. That's all.
Yes,
And,
sir.
and Brother Lukeman, that's also 31, your name chapter.
I didn't see that until you just mentioned it. Yes, ma'am.
Brother
Mm.
Lukeman,
Yes.
what about 6 times 3 is 18 and 1 is 19?
I didn't see it. Thank you.
Allahu
That
Akbar.
works. That works too.
Whenever there's a nine, whenever there's a nine, it goes so many ways. I found that out too.
Yeah, all that works. So when I see that, that's like a signal to me that there's a reason why this is occurring.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna read my notes just as I wrote them,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see if it makes sense. But all this is going to tie in together.
Right.
So I started out with the ayat. This is why I didn't write down the ayat, but this is coming from the Surah the B, Surah 16,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to think it's Surah 16, verse 89, I think, but it says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and we have revealed the book to thee, explaining all things, and a guidance and a mercy and good news for those who submit. Now, anytime we can start with an ayat, then we know that's in the language of the text, that's called stable datum, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a good place to start. But then the thought came to my mind, and I always want to say the thought came to my mind or I was inspired by, because I don't ever want to, even for myself, to think that I'm the source of these thoughts. I believe these are that Allah speaks to all of us.
Yes, sir.
The thought came to my mind because the thought came to my mind, and then this question came right behind the thought. Could the book explaining all things be the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Mm.
I'm just going to put that out there. And then the question is, well, why? Right behind that thought came this question. Is there any part of the supreme wisdom lesson or the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that he hasn't taught and expounded on?
Mm-mm.
Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
So on this level, we could say that the minister could be considered a book that was revealed to us explaining all things. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Am I going too far out by saying that?
No, he said it.
Okay,
I
good.
heard him say he's a book. Okay.
Okay, good, good.
And it's 1689, by the way.
Thank you. Praise be to Allah. So then I had to clear the word expound, because sometimes I'm writing and these words pop in my head and I write the word down. I'm like, let me go clear that, because I
Mm-hmm.
was given the word, but I don't know why I was given that particular word.
Right.
But the word expound comes from the Latin exponere. It means to defend with argument. It says to explain by setting forth in careful and often elaborate detail. It means to express, to voice, or to give. And I said, well, that's exactly what the minister has been doing with the teaching of Most High Elijah Muhammad.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then I said, here's the thought that comes to mind. If he is or is becoming the book and has given a clear explanation of all things, and if the tech of Dianetics, the science of the mind, is in the Holy Quran and Supreme Wisdom Lessons, then contained in the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is another level of the tech or its fulfillment. Does everyone follow that?
Yes, sir.
So what I use what's called the transitive law. If A equals B and
Mm-hmm.
B equals C, then A has to
Mm-hmm.
equal C, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Minister Farrakhan is the book that is explaining all things, and if the tech is in the book, then technically the science of the mind is already in the teachings, but we just haven't gone deep enough into the minister's words. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Question.
Yes, sir.
So when he says that he has a book to go get, and he talks about previously before that, him coming to understand who he is it possible that that also includes coming to understand that the book that he is to go get is already embodied in himself?
That's a possibility because remember the minister said when he was taken to the wheel there was a scroll, and he got close to the scroll and said it's not time for him to see it yet, and he said he believes that that represents something that was placed in him. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what
Yes, sir.
I had a real good conversation with Brother Wahid, and unfortunately, I don't have my notes with me. About a week or so ago, and one thing Brother Wahid was adamant about was we were talking about the minister, and we were talking about the possibility of him going and getting the new wine, but we have to have the new wine skin because you can't put new wine in an old wine skin, right?
Wow.
So that's what Brother Wahid was sharing with me. Now, in looking at the minister from this perspective, so does that make sense so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here's the next stage, and then we'll go into the questions. If the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the book present time explaining all things, because the minister said Allah is a scientist who speaks in the language of formulae. The Most High Elijah Muhammad is a second scientist who looked into the formula and broke it down. And the minister referred to himself as the third scientist who breaks down the complex truths so that even a fool will find it hard to make a mistake, correct?
Yes, sir.
So can we translate that into the minister? The purpose of the minister is explaining all things. Could we say that?
We can.
Okay, give me 1 second as I'm trying to turn this down a little bit. Okay. So the next thing that I was jotting down was if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the book explaining all things, and if the text can be found in the book, Holy Quran, then the principles of the science of the mind are already contained in the lectures of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Therefore, remember how he talked about the safe full of riches, but we lost the combination?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay. So then it was then I wrote down, is it possible that the safe full of riches could be the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? And the key that we had lost was our study of his words to us.
You know, When you just said that, I thought about Brother Rahman, may Allah be pleased with him. And he said that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said he cracked Khan. That's how he said it.
Uh-huh.
Cracked the minister into 10,000 parts. So
Hmm.
absolutely. Yes, sir.
So the whole basis of this is the thought that it goes back to what the Most High Elijah Muhammad says. He said in Message of the Black Man, in order for you to say that what you have is true and right, you have to study all the religions and their scriptures, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We got two Sister Patricias now. What, you got twin sisters, Sister Patricia?
No, I left my room and I didn't want to miss anything.
No.
I'll turn one off shortly.
That's okay. I'm like, okay, they must be twins. Okay.
No, sir. Thank you.
Um, so the whole basis of this is for us to revisit the teachings. Most High Elijah Muhammad says, in order for you to say that what you have is right and true, I believe is what he says, you have to study all religions and the scriptures. So we would never know that the tech was already in our teachings unless we had a certain level of understanding of the tech. Now, would we?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Because how can you see the tech is in there if you never study the tech?
Right.
So if we study the tech and we understand the principles behind the tech, and then we go back and revisit the minister's words, then it's quite possible we'll come to the realization that we've been looking at the tech the whole time we've been in the nation, but we didn't know it because we looked at the minister's words just from one perspective.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Does that make sense, family?
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that being said, can we give a quick summary of what book 2, chapter 8 is talking about with regards to the contagion by aberration? Because anyone give us a quick summary of what it involves. We're going to address some of these questions, and then I'm going to pull a clip up of the minister's words to tie it all together.
Okay.
So where's our Dianetics scientists in the room that could give us a quick summary of contagion of aberration?
I think you gave a good example in the writing and the questions you said this Sunday. Okay. How are the mental aberrations passed down from parents to children? And I would say because the parent is an authority. So, and they usually have the power to cause physical and mental pain.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what's said during the
Mm-hmm.
physical and or mental pain. It
Mm-hmm.
could be something that happened to them from their parent, that happened to them from their parent. So it goes all the way back, and it can go all the way forward if it's not caught
Mm-hmm.
in a session.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I would like to add on.
Yes, ma'am.
I just listened to the People's Podcast, your part 2 today, and you talked about contagion of aberration.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also thinking about a situation where maybe let's say there are children in high school or even middle school, and one person may not like a different person, and they turn everybody in their group against that person. That's contagion of aberration.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to add that.
Yes, ma'am. Most definitely.
Actual good one, Sister Patricia, because according to Closing the Gap, I'm sorry, Brother Lukman.
Go ahead.
According to Closing the Gap, an organization is dismantled or uprooted based on distrust and, for lack of better words, gossip, and that is part of it. The agent or the hypocrite, he whispers and gets people get them to turn. So of course the agent and hypocrite is absolutely aberrated and it's
Mhm.
spread. So it is a contagious thing.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Brother Luke Long.
Uh, Let me go with Sister Peggy first. And who was that that just said that?
Sister Jeanette.
Okay, let's go with Sister Peggy first, and then Sister Jeanette. Go ahead, Sister Peggy.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. I
Well,
was thinking of that during the Salem witch trials when one young woman was thought to have been, that she saw the devil or the devil was affected, then others were affected too.
wait, say that again.
The Salem witch trials,
Mm-hmm.
Salem,
Mm-hmm.
when all those girls were telling tales on people where that they say that they were witches, it went from one girl to the next. All young women say that they saw certain things that they never. I don't know if they really saw them, but
And you're saying that's following the same pattern as a contagion of aberration.
mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Peggy. Sister Jeanette,
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
loud and clear.
Okay. I was just thinking that each generation of children, they look up to their parents as gods. So everything that they get from the parent until they understand whether or not it was right or wrong
Mhm.
is into them. It's like, deep inside them. And they pass it on to the next generation, and the next generation passes it on until we come to an understanding about who really God is and what he wants for us and what he doesn't. That's
Mhm.
all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Jeanette.
Mhm.
Brother, Brother Lickman, I had a question
Of course.
on
Mhm.
on unconsciousness. They say because usually you're unconscious when you pick it up. How long
Mhm.
does one have to be unconscious for? A few seconds or minute?
You can be unconscious for a split second and pick up something. And I'll give
Okay.
you an example. Anyone that's from the South, if you're from the South, then you know all about switches, right?
Oh yeah.
So if you've ever been tagged with a switch, and I think L. Ron Hubbard speaks about this in Dianetics. I think he mentioned something about just the fact of touching a stove and being burnt for that split second. Your analytical mind is clicking off just for a split second. But it just so happens that at that time you get burnt, if there's something around at that time period, you can have an engram just that quick. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Does anyone remember reading that in book one, Dianetics?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. So it depends on uh the amount of time. It can be a second, 2 seconds, 1 minute. It doesn't make a difference. But even if it's a couple of seconds, if there's a person present and something that's said in those
Mhm.
2 seconds, now you have circuit. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Say again?
I said just saying thank you, sir.
Yes, you're very welcome. So as I was writing this intro, these thoughts popped in my head. I said, okay, let's do the math. And when we hear the minister's words, all of this is going to tie together. So if the original black man in North America has suffered from 1555 to 2026, and the mental trauma has been passed down from generation to generation, then how many generations of trauma do we potentially possess? I started looking at this and I was like, this almost looks like the same pattern as a problem in the problem book. And I'm not trying to say that to make anything. This is what it started to look like to me. So then if one generation, so that's okay, what's one generation? One generation is 25 years. And if you go from 2026 to 1555, that's 471 years of trauma, isn't it? Y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we just did simple subtraction. 2026 subtract 1555, that's 471 years. And then you divide that by 19. I mean,
119.
you divide that by 25. And it comes out to 18.84, which is exactly round up It's actually 19 generations. Isn't that interesting? Does everyone see the math?
Yes, sir. Very interesting.
Okay, 471 divided by 25.
Mhm.
You get 1884. And then you round up to the nearest whole number and you get 19. So then here's how you calculate how many people are on your timeline from 2026 going back to 1555. So you start out with your mother and your father. That's two, right?
Mhm.
And each one of them had a mother and father, right?
Yes, sir.
So at each generation, you're increasing exponentially by two. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then when you take 2 to the 19th power, that's the number of generations.
Mm.
2 to the 19th power comes out to 524,288. Look at how much aberration we potentially contain right now.
Mm.
Whee!
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yes.
And you wonder why we're crazy as hell.
That explains a lot to me.
That explains a lot, right?
Yes, sir.
We potentially have the engrams
Mm,
of over 500,000 people.
mm. Each one of us.
Each one of us, potentially. Okay. So, what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to pull up the clip from the minister. We'll watch that clip, and that will kind of lay the foundation of how we address what we're going to address. And then we're just going to start going through some of these questions and see where Allah takes us. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Brother Lukman,
Yes, ma'am.
you said 524,288,
Yes.
and that rounds off to how many generations
That
of
that's no,
increase?
that's the number of ancestors.
Okay, the ancestors.
Yes.
Okay.
So what we did was to get the number of years, we
Yeah, I
take
got that part.
okay, 2026 minus 1555 gives us 471 years.
Yes, sir.
One generation is 25.
Yes, sir. Divide that. Yeah.
So we divide 471 by 25, we get 18.84,
84 equal
and then we just
19.
round up to 19.
Right, right. So in 524,288 is how many engrams approximately?
So the 524, 288, that's the number of ancestors we have from 2026 going back to 1555.
Okay,
That's how
okay,
many people were present. Our genetic makeup is the result of those 524,288 individuals.
okay. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So whatever trauma they went through, it was passed down through the generation, through the generation, through the generation. So now we represent the accumulation of all that trauma.
Yes, sir. Hmm.
And that's why Sis Angela is crazy as Sis Angela is. No, that's why all of us are crazy. Okay.
What is
You
what
know,
is you?
anniversary the other day, right, Brother Luke, man?
Say what?
It was our anniversary the other day. I thought I sent it to you. The
Anniversary.
Montgomery boat beat down the deck in Montgomery where the chairs.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that. That's the Montgomery. Yeah, our peoples are from Montgomery. We're hat throwers.
That's
Sister Hazel, assalamu alaikum. If you're trying to speak, you're on mute.
Walaikum salam.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Walaikum, Sister Angela.
how you doing, sugar?
Fine by Allah's grace.
Crazy.
And we got Sister Deborah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Deborah.
Walaikum salam, family. Happy Savior's Day.
Happy Savior's Day. How are you?
I am a little sore, but I'm okay. I'm looking forward to Savior's Day and seeing everybody.
Yes,
Are you in
ma'am.
the chess tournament?
No, I'm not going to be able to make it to Savior's
Oh,
Day.
okay.
I
Yes.
am
Mm.
I actually had to come back to New York and finish selling off everything that we had still left behind so that I can uh let me pause it. Okay, and Sister Jaslyn, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Brother Lukman and family.
How are you?
I'm well, tired, just finished working and I'm just a little bit exhausted.
Okay, we gotta get that tone up. Gotta get the tone up.
Yes, sir. Please do.
Okay, so let me pause it for a minute.
All that all that residual trauma within us. And we have, until the minister introduced Dianetics, we have never been really, had no therapy for all that. That's inside of us. So
You're absolutely correct. And that's why the minister directing us to the tech was a divine mercy and blessing. That means we all had engrams that, well,
Ruled our body.
if we're in North America, we already have engrams that have already been keyed in, correct?
Yes, sir.
We we in the words of Eddie Murphy, some of us had he talked about some of us had skeletons in the closet. He said some of us have cemeteries.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So all of us have been working our whole life with engrams that are already in restem, and we have engrams that are dormant that haven't been keyed in yet.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the minister pointing us to the tech to me was a divine mercy for us to
Mm-hmm.
be able to address our engrams. And I always use the example of wildland fires. And since
Mm.
Sister Hazel, Brother David, and Sister Carol weren't present when we spoke about wildland fires, I'm going to address it real quickly so we can use a demo kit to show, so I can explain the concept. Is that all right with y'all?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay. So when you think of wildland fires, picture in your mind California and you see the fire going across the forest, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So then what happens is when you do wildland firefighting, there's equations you can use to determine how fast the fire will get from point A to point B. So you have other variables you have to take in consideration. You got to understand the humidity of the air, wind speed, wind direction. If it's less humid, then it's going to burn faster. So then if you see certain points, little towns and villages, you can determine if the fire's here, it will be at this city or this village or this town, let's say within an hour or two. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can determine the time because velocity is equal to distance over time. You know how fast the fire is traveling. This little town or village is going to be burned up in 3 hours. So what they might do is they'll dispatch wildland firefighters to that area. And what they'll do is, and you might have seen this on the news, and you say, why are they burning things intentionally?
Mhm.
Has anyone ever seen that before?
Mhm. Yes,
I've
sir.
heard of it.
They're laying down fire. You're like, wait a minute,
Mhm.
how are you going to use fire to fight fire?
Mm.
So what happens is if you burn away, if you burn away the bushes and the plants and whatnot, if you burn all that away, by the time the real fire gets there, there's nothing there to burn, so the fire stops. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so you're
sir.
you're burning away all we call it in the fire service what it's called fire load. You're burning away the fire load. You're burning away the the fuel that would
Hmm.
allow the fire to proceed to destroy the village or the town. But if you burn all that away, when the fire gets there,
Hmm.
it's barren. So the fire stops. I believe it in wildland fire, it's called a fire break. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
Now, what does that got to do with you and I? Well, if we're living during the shock of the hour, And the word shock in Arabic is zalzala, which means grief. And if Minister Farrakhan said in the divine destruction of America, can she avert it? He said that grief was going to be a tool that Allah was going to use during the chastisement. That means we're all in the pathway of a wildland fire that's coming.
Mhm.
However, if we go through auditing, we are removing the fuel so that when trauma hits our life, we won't become as aberrated because we have been able to remove some of the trauma from our past. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
We have gotten rid of some of the emotional baggage because the auditor is like a wildland firefighter. Through auditing, what's taking place is the auditor is doing a controlled burn to remove the grief, to remove the anger, to remove the emotion, so that when certain situations come, they don't affect us in the same way because we are not as aberrated as we would have been had we not gone through auditing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone that has gone through auditing and it has changed you in such a way, certain other events have taken place and they did not have the same effect on you?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kind of makes sense, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay.
sir.
So an auditor is like, to me, an auditor is a mental firefighter. Because the same principles of putting a fire out in a building, you can show ARC to how the tech is used to put the fire out or the emotion out in a person's mind. It's the same science, just different application and different words and different procedure. Does it make sense?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, let's see. That must have been Brother Eric. Give me 1 second. Uh, does anyone have any questions before we go forward? Any comments, any thoughts? Uh, anybody? Yes, no?
You good?
Let's see. I'm trying to. And, okay, God. Okay. Now I'm trying to juggle things. Excuse me, family. I got people that are trying to get in. Um,
I have
okay, okay.
something I just wanted to share.
Go right ahead, brother.
It's making me like what you sent as far as the reading. It made me think about the Willie Lynch letter and the tactics, and how he said that you know we will be like self-perpetuating slaves for 300 years, if not longer.
Yes.
And it made me think about all the trauma that was involved in that process and how we are playing that out. So when you were dealing with the epigenetics and the engrams passed down, it made me think about that. And I guess at this point, I would probably end up jumping ahead to the other part of her. So I don't want to do that. But did Willie Lynch uh, come up at all for you in your mind when you were putting uh, this particular lesson?
It's funny to say that because, and I'll touch on it briefly to marry what you just said into what we're saying, because yes, on one level I did, and I'll tell you why. When you as a firefighter, um, we have to actually study the whole science and the physics of fire and how it operates. And one of the basic concepts of fire is that it's composed of four elements. Okay. And this is just a quick
But it look like it might be me, but you're down.
say what?
I can't hear you. Is it just me?
Can
No,
everyone
I
hear
can
me?
hear.
You,
I can hear you.
you got to turn your volume up, Sister Jeanette.
Let me see. How about now? Are we all good?
Well, you were good. I think it's her volume.
Okay. Can you hear me, sister? Looks like she probably bounced out. She's gonna come back in. Okay. So fire is composed of four elements. One, you have to have oxygen. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, you have to have oxygen. Then you have to have a fuel source. Okay. Then you have to have heat. Now I'm gonna give us an example. Okay, I'm gonna give us an example. When you light the candle, you have to have oxygen, right? Y'all with me?
Yes.
So when you're burning a candle, what's the fuel?
The wick and the air.
The wick actually isn't the fuel.
Oh,
A lot of people think it's the wick, but if the wick was the fuel, it would totally burn out automatically, right?
right.
But what happens is that fire on the wick, when it melts the wax is releasing the gas, and it's the gas that's flammable that keeps the candle going.
Mm, okay.
Okay. So that's three out of the four. You have to have oxygen, you have to have a fuel source, you have to have heat, then you have to have what's called a self-sustained chain reaction.
Mm.
Okay. Now, some of you may have never noticed this part, and I'm gonna tie this into what brother said. But have you ever gone someplace and you see different types of fire extinguishers?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay. So technically, if you have four elements to a fire, each one of those types of extinguishers will remove one element from the fire. And as soon as you remove one element, that's what puts the fire out. Make sense?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Now you can take each one of those elements from a fire and they all correspond to why we're aberrated.
Mm.
Because first, so let's say oxygen, wouldn't that be environment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fuel source, couldn't that be a suppressive?
Good.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't the heat represent emotion?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And the self-sustained chain reaction is called chronic restimulation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So when you look at Willie Lynch syndrome is they produce an environment that produce a self-sustained chain reaction
Yeah.
because they put us in an environment where we're in an environment, we're around suppressives, those are the fuel sources,
Mm.
and we're constantly antagonizing one another. That's producing the heat or the emotion. And so now, because this is being done in the family, light skin versus the dark skin, tall versus short, no hair versus kinky hair versus straight hair, thin nose versus thick nose, thin lips. And since we have all these within the same family, each household represents a self-sustained chain reaction, doesn't it?
Yes.
So the same element that causes fire in a building, physical fire, actually you can map it exactly as to what keeps us on fire mentally.
Wow.
That's why, and it's funny because when I originally went to the academy, I wanted to know the science of fire so I could better understand the teachings.
Mm.
Make sense?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So did that answer your question, brother Derek?
Yes, it does. It does.
Willie Lynch
It
is
does.
the self-sustained chain reaction that keeps us burning one
That's right.
another.
That's right. And the
Dianetics is what we
minister.
use to put the fire out.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Let's see who else jumped in here. We got Brother Fatah. Assalamu alaikum. Can you come off mute, brother? There you go.
Walaikum salam, brother. Yes, sir.
How are you, brother? It's been a while.
All is well. All is well. It's good to see you and the family,
Yes, sir. Likewise, likewise.
brother. This topic is so germane I literally just got off the phone with one of the students in San Antonio, and this is exactly what is the family dynamic when, oh man, brother, I just that right there, what you explained, brother, I think that's probably one of the clearest understandings I've gotten about just the family dynamics and how it's perpetuating. Thank you for sharing that, brother.
All praise due to Allah. We haven't even scratched the surface yet, brother. Wait till we start going through these questions. And see, are you on the email list?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. But brother David sends me he just sent me the link.
Okay, so you didn't get the study guide that goes along with this discussion, have you?
Was it the one that deals with the family and the family of the contagion of aberration?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay, so this is what we're going to be touching on for the next couple of weeks. We're going to be dealing with this, and God willing, from this point forward, we're going to go chapter by chapter and connect these chapters to our Supreme Wisdom lessons and the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Sir, thank you so much.
Good, thank you, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Lukman. Excuse
Yes,
me.
ma'am.
I'm not on that list.
Okay, if you could put your email in the chat and I'll
Yes, sir.
add you. That way you'll get everything as it's sent out.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Brother Willie X, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Luthman, and all the believers, and happy Savior's Day.
Savior's Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me join this discussion. I've been following for the last maybe month or so all the videos. I've been sharing it to other believers that I know. And I'm actually in the middle of my HDA course that I'm doing in Orlando. Well, I'm actually towards the end of it. And brother, you have stretched my understanding. I'm thankful for you and all the sisters. And I just want to just listen today. So thank you.
That's good. Thank you, brother. Praise due to Allah. That's what it's about. It's marrying the supreme wisdom with the supreme technology. So basically, we all have a great concept of the family dynamics when it comes to contagion by aberration, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I'm gonna pull up a clip of the minister's words that's gonna tie this all together, and then we're gonna just start looking through the questions. So I think I have that clip ready. It's from Fear, Faith, and Truth. And I was just inspired. I'm sitting here shredding documents and whatnot. And I just wanted to hear the minister's voice as I was doing it. And then he said this, and I'm gonna pull it up here. Let's see. It was, let me make sure I got my numbers right here. Okay. So this is what the minister said. And I'm gonna start it right. I'll start it right here. Yeah, okay, that works. But when you hear it, you're gonna know exactly what you're hearing.
The animals don't take none of their spoils, kill them all. Oh. Now, somebody, when I remember I had a talk.
Actually, I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit so we get his words in context. Okay.
You can terrify a man. And a man don't want to be in no trouble with a woman who ain't afraid. Because you sleep sometime. And you a damn fool to get her upset and then sleep. Because one day the sleep will be permanent.
That's right.
Rest in pieces. Now, in the Bible, everybody all right? In the Bible, Saul was made king over Israel. And through the prophet Samuel, God told Saul, I think it was the Amalekites he was fighting, and God told him, kill the men, the women, the children, the animals.
Mm.
Don't take none of their spoils. Kill them all. Whoa. Now, somebody, when I remember I had a talk with a particular entertainer, very, very well known. And when he studied that in the Bible, it shook him so bad, he didn't want to go back to Bible class anymore because he couldn't understand God telling the Israelites to kill men, women, and children, kill their animals, and don't take nothing as a spoil. But if you look at God, when God is angry with a people because of that people's wickedness, he don't care nothing about children. Because if the children come from wicked parents, maybe the sins of the parents should be visited on the children. And that's why when you have children, you have to be careful how you live, because you could be passing on to your children the weight of things that belong in your life, but they come up on your children. You didn't hear me. Saul went out. He heard the command.
Okay. Can we all agree that what the minister just said aligns with Contagion of Aberration?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I want to restate something for the sake of those that came afterwards, based on something we had said earlier, and that is this: it's possible. I think we could say with clarity that Minister Farrakhan could represent a book explaining all things. I just want to restate this for those that came in.
Yes,
Do
sir.
we all understand? Do we agree or disagree with that?
Agree.
Okay.
I
So
agree.
if we know the Holy Quran is a book explaining all things, and we can bear witness that either the minister is or is becoming, because I'm not qualified to answer that, the book explaining all things with regards to our teachings, correct?
Sir.
Right.
So if he is, we're gonna use the mathematical proof. We're gonna put forth what's called a supposition or a hypothesis. If he is the book explaining all things, okay, and if we can find, and we have found by Allah's grace, we have found the tech, the science of the mind in the Holy Quran. Otherwise, it can't be a book explaining all things because it says all things, right?
Thanks.
So all things would imply that the science of the mind is in the Holy Quran. And if the minister is a book explaining all things, then logically we could deduce, if we go back and revisit the minister's lectures, we will find the tech in the lectures.
Yeah.
And we will understand that we have been given the tech all along, but we would not know that unless we studied the tech in order to see the tech.
Yes, sir.
So when you go and look at the words of the Most High Elijah Muhammad on page 90 of Message to the Black Man, he says, before you can say that what you're studying is true or right, you have to study all religions and the scriptures, right?
That's right.
And then in rule number 1 of the 13 rules of instruction, he says that the lesson that our Savior Allah has given us to study and learn is the fulfillment of all the prophets and the scriptures, right?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
How could we know that something is the fulfillment of something else unless we study both things? So in the words of Brother Wahid, we had this conversation a while back. He says that's why problem number 13 says, after learning mathematics is Islam and Islam is mathematics, it stands true. That implies that we have to study both in order to understand both.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone here that has studied a level of mathematics called mathematical proofs? If not, I won't even go into it. Won't even go into it then. But problem number 13, and God willing, in a future time, I'm going to produce a whole presentation on this to show the proof mathematically that the tech of Scientology and the teachings that we have, I believe I can prove it mathematically that they come from the same source. That's going to be another time. So with that being said, let us deal with the questions because we know what book 2, chapter 8 is talking about. We have an idea, and now we have the minister's words. So there should be no mistake or discrepancy of thinking that he made a mistake in directing us to the tech if we can show by inverse operation that he's been teaching us the science of the mind the whole time. We just didn't know it. Does everyone follow that logic?
Yeah, come on.
I see Brother Fata is about to get the ghost over there. But it makes sense, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How can we have the Messiah in our midst? How can we live in the presence of the exalted Christ and the Messiah and think that we have never been taught the science of the mind?
Mm.
We just haven't studied our lessons deep enough. And once we go study the science of the mind, then we'll say, oh, we've been learning the science of the mind the whole time. We just ain't been studying, have we? We memorized our student room actual fact, and that was it.
That was it. That was it.
That was it. That was it. But we already have it. But what we have is the fulfillment. There's something that we have that the rest of the world don't have with regards to the science of the mind.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this not in a disrespectful way, but our teachings don't make OT. Our teachings make God.
Come on. Come on, brother. You did.
Our teaching is to put us back into the circle of the gods.
Absolutely.
So we have something, in medicine, Sister Peggy will understand this, and anyone that has worked in the medical field will understand this. Two people can present with the same sickness, but you can't give them, if you might have to give them two different prescriptions. I can be in the mosque, I can have asthma, but I have what's called albuterol. Someone else has asthma, but they have a prescription called ipratropium. This is back from my paramedic days. I used to ride, as a paramedic and have to, give stuff on the way to the hospital. But if I see they have an asthma attack, I can't just assume that they can use my inhaler. I could kill them. Sister Peggy, you want to say something? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I apologize. Fata's daughter was waving, so I think she was waving at me, so I was waving back
Okay,
at her.
all right. I thought you were catching the ghost back there. Sorry. So I can't assume just because they have a symptom that's similar to mine that the prescription is the same. We have to understand, and this is just Brother Lukman's opinion, but my opinion is based on what we have been taught. We know for a fact that Master Farah Muhammad came from both people so he could bring justice or give justice to both people, right?
Sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's right.
Now, hold that senior data in your head over here, and then let's look over in the Holy Quran where it says that Allah raises up a messenger from amongst their own people speaking their own language. To me, that implies that if Allah came from both people to give justice, he's Al-Rahman and Al-Rahim. That's beneficence and mercy, which translate into showing kindness to people who are deserving and also showing kindness to people who are not deserving. And when we look at that, he comes from both people, and we tie it into the Holy Quran. Then, to me, in my kindergarten understanding, it would mean that he would raise up one from among the black men in North America, but he would also raise up one from the white people in North America. Does everyone see that logic?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sister Jasmine.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Lukman. When you when you said that the minister has he been teaching us the science of the mind? I remember the messenger. I think by him first of all telling us that heaven and hell is a state of condition as opposed to a place.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the science of the mind. But I also remember Minister Farrakhan, if I'm not mistaken, initially introducing us to deceptive intelligence in 1997.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
even when he gave us that definition, to me, that's an example of his teaching us about the science of the mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Those two things just came to mind for me, that
Mm-hmm.
even before he introduced us to dynamics, like you said, he's always been teaching us the science of the mind. And when he said that our minds were created to receive truth, that's a science within itself. That, when we reject falsehood, that, he's telling us what our minds are supposed to do, or what they're, as black, original black people,
Mm-hmm.
that's our nature, to receive truth. So to me, I'm just agreeing, just giving examples, just agreeing with what you said as far as he's always been teaching us the science of the
Yes,
mind. I
ma'am.
just wanted to offer that.
Praise
Thank
the God. Thank you, Sister Jasmine. And on that point, if you and I go back in time and you go back to the Mind Wars series that Dr. Ava did back in the 90s, if you go back and reread Unveiling the Number 19 and Farrakhan the Traveler, if you go back, or if you and I go back and re-listen or reread, you would have to say that if we were really studying those words back then, and of course the minister's words, we were being prepared for this. Because I heard Sister Ava, may Allah be pleased with her, she was the first person I heard talk about. She had said that, and she said it kind of like this. I know it's not exactly right, but this is the concept. She says that when a woman is with child, the reason why you have to be careful around that woman. She said that when if the father says anything or does anything to the mother, that trauma, and again, I'm paraphrasing it, but this is the concept, it gets translated into uh, chemistry that is now fed into the prenatal child. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
you. It absolutely does.
And she said it like this. She says, the child is conceived under great love and great emotion. But then when that prenatal, when that fetus is taking in all this negative emotion, she said it's like being invited to your own birthday, and when you get there, your presence is not wanted.
Wow.
So she was talking about prenatals before we were even introduced to Dianetics.
Yes.
So I just
Brother,
wanted to say
Yeah,
that
Minister
point.
Farrakhan was teaching us how to give birth to a God all the way back, a long time ago too.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh,
brother, may I bear witness to what you just said?
Of course, go ahead, brother.
Brother, it was maybe December 2023. I was in an auditing session with local auditors here in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just said is exactly what I experienced growing up. A great misunderstanding, uh,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that I was confusing me not being loved or wanted with the condition of mother seeing there's something going on with father,
Mm-hmm.
and then carrying that throughout my life until I got audited to get it separated and understood within myself that my mom always loved me.
Mm.
I was not unwanted. I was confusing that what she was discovering with my father and the argument that was taking place, I carried that with me as though they didn't want me. And it was connected to a pain in my neck. But when my auditor sent me back and got me through it through birth, brother, it was like I felt so much love because I was moving through life with that misunderstanding. Brother, praise be to Allah. Sister Abe, brother, what you're saying, I agree with it because they had to have been getting us ready for this time period because it's just it's just so heartwarming, brother, hearing you explain it like this. So praise be to Allah.
All praise due to Allah. Thank you, Brother Fatah. Sister Angela.
Yes, sir. To connect to the brother. So I tell a story sometimes. So I guess I'm telling it. Ingo went to the org for the first time in 2010. I never saw a setup like that, and the setup was the glass room. I felt like a gerbil, maybe a hamster, and they was like, you only can talk if it's about what you're studying. No water, Sister Angela. No, nothing. It's just here to study. And the words, because I was so entrenched in the nation, I got used to things worded a certain way. So when I started going to their questions, because the book didn't really bother me, I was already halfway through the book. But I got so overwhelmed, I had to excuse myself, and I prayed. And when I prayed, Allah, I can hear him say to me, there's nothing higher than supreme wisdom. So I went back with that in mind and just, I don't know. I think Sister Kavah probably came the closest to my time, beating my time at the org. I said that to say this. I see with my own two eyes how the auditors from the Nation of Islam has taken this tool and taken it to levels that they haven't seen in Scientology. I also see the study guides are different. We've been on this from the beginning. As soon as we wrote our letter, that letter we write is a straight wire if we realize what we're reading. So it is now see, and then L. Ron Hubbard knew this. I always talk about him saying how faith can uproot an engram. As the brother was speaking, I saw it clearly. It's gratitude. Especially when we have issues with our parents, when we hear the minister say, don't judge your mother, don't judge your father. You don't know what they've been through. So by the grace and mercy of Allah, by the time I got to auditing, mine was already refiled because I settled on the gratitude. I settled on the best part. So I didn't have those engrams. I just had the ones that, was high, and I didn't know, the Montgomery ones were still in there. God's
Yep.
grace and mercy. So I absolutely agree.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Sister Angela.
Yes, sir.
Brother Fatah, you're a mathematician, right?
I guess you can say that.
And you missed the beginning. I'll just restate this briefly.
Yes, sir.
We took the year 2026, went back to 1555, and we came up with 471 years. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One generation is 25 years. So we took 471 and we divided by 25 generations.
Yes, sir.
And it gave us 18.84, which we round up. That's 19 generations. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
I don't think it's a coincidence that we got the number 19.
Come on now.
But now you do know if we go back, as we go back each generation, we are going back exponentially, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
We have a parent and a parent, mother and father. Next generation is two grandparents, two grandfathers, two grandmothers, right?
That's right.
So we're actually the mathematics is 2 to the power of 19.
Yes.
And when you do 2 to the power of 19, you get over 500,000 ancestors on our genetic time track. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, if each one of those ancestors is based on slavery from 1555 to 2026, how many aberrations do we each have individually, potentially?
Mm.
Goodness.
Because remember, and this is interesting, but L. Ron Hubbard in our lessons say we have 4 devils, right?
Yes, sir.
In Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard says some people had as many as 4 demons.
Yes, sir.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
Not at all.
But if we go back and we have 520, I think it's 524,288 ancestors, and going through slavery in the Middle Passage, I would think that each individual would have at least 10 engrams. Is that a soft assumption?
Yes, sir.
Very soft.
So that means if you take we'll use a round number, 500,000 ancestors,
Yes.
and each one of them has 10
Mm.
engrams. All you
Mm.
do is you take your 500,000 and just add another zero. Now you
Right.
got 5 million, right?
Right.
How many engrams could we potentially have right now in 2026? It sounds like a problem from the problem book, but
But yes,
how
sir.
aberrated are we really?
Right.
Right.
And it's normal for the black family.
Say what?
It's normal. It's, I mean, because we're also aberrated, and most of it genetic to genetics, but it has become normal in our way of life.
Yeah, we're just normally crazy.
Yes, sir.
We're just normally crazy. Sister Angela.
When you were talking about this earlier, I went straight to the problem book in the second question. We were talking about the pulse beat, and we were trying to see what the numbers represented. I'm looking at it differently now. Because even look how far that is in Supreme Wisdom, yet she still has an irregular pulse beat, and he does too. Could this possibly be in grams?
Yes, ma'am. So you're talking about pulse pressure registered more than
Uh-huh.
32,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Then, so let me explain that real quick. So we know what
Yes.
pulse pressure is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pulse registers more than 32. Now this isn't used so much in Western medicine, but in holistic medicine, they use the concept of pulse pressure. So what pulse pressure is you take your systolic number and your diastolic, and you subtract the diastolic from the systolic.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if a person has a blood pressure of 120 over 80, then 120 subtract 80 is 40, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that means the pulse registers more than 32. The pulse is registering at 40. But what does that explain about cardiac health?
Mm.
If you think about driving, you have highway miles and you have city miles, right?
Yes, sir.
Which one puts more wear and tear on your engine?
City.
City.
Why?
Because
Start,
it's
stop, start,
interrupted.
start.
Constant starting
Mhm.
and stopping, right?
Yeah.
You're going from zero to this, zero to this, zero to this. But when you go highway miles, you set your cruise control and
Yeah.
you're staying at a constant speed. So you're not changing the force on your engine, right?
Mm.
Right.
Okay. Well, if you're going, so your diastolic is your system at rest, and your systolic is your system when it is in motion, right? So
Mm-hmm.
every time your heart beats, you're going from 80 to 120, 80 to 120. Your pulse is registering more than 32. When someone suffers from hypertension, Sister Peggy could bear witness to this. Let's say you have a blood pressure of 150 on 110. Oh, God. Look how high the blood pressure is
Yeah.
automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why the uncle suffered from high blood pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get your blood pressure down to like maybe 110 on 70 or 110 on 80, now your pulse pressure is at 30, isn't it? So in
Mm-hmm.
holistic medicine, and I'm saying this based on what I learned from Dr. Lila Africa, is that when you can bring those two numbers together, you're not putting as much pressure on the heart. But when your pulse registers more than 32, that is automatically a sign that the person is under a lot of stress. And that stress is based on a viewpoint or a mindset. And that mindset is being translated into hormones and stress hormones and chemicals. And then that translates to sickness and disease. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead, Brother Willie.
Wow, man. Yes, sir. It was something you was talking about, the generations of of 50,000 or more years. And I was recently reading something about it whenever we evaluate a case as an auditor, if there's a case that has the same name, like if you're a junior, you carry the same name as your father, because that name is similar to the child that he may have gotten, he may receive, it may be a harder case because of the similarity of the name. And I know whenever we join the nation, we have to give up our former the former name that we had. And I was just wondering if that was like maybe a common link in between, because it's aberrative, that name that we carry from our former slave masters.
Oh, brother, that's you just I didn't even think of it until you just mentioned it. But how much aberration, how much did we endure under our slave name growing up as children?
Wow.
So when you look at our last name prior to the nation, our last name was probably connected to a lot of aberrated behavior.
Yes.
And for some of us, our first name was connected to a lot of aberrant behavior. So just by giving up that name, because we're going to get into this, into the chapter, by changing the language, it changes an aspect of the mind. And that's why L. Ron Hubbard had to come up with his own terminology. Because when he was running these processes using the regular language, the language causes aberration. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So he had to come up with words like anitin and interbulated, because we never heard those words before. So those words can't re-stimulate us because we've never heard them before. Make sense? So that's a very good observation, Brother Willie. Thank you for that.
Praise be to Allah. Wow.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Let's dig in the
And
chapter.
that's on the letter too. We desire our own.
Yes, most definitely. Okay, here we are. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So question number 1 says, what is the basic mechanics of contagion of aberration? And let's see. So the basic mechanics was right here on page. It says the contagion of aberration is too simple in principle to be much labored here. It says in Dianetics, we learned that only moments of unconsciousness, short or long, and greater or lesser depth can contain engrams. When a person is rendered unconscious, people in his vicinity react more or less at the dictates of their engrams. In fact, the unconsciousness is quite ordinarily caused by somebody's dramatization. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that's the basic mechanics. Okay. People are under stress if aberrated. They dramatize engrams. Okay. Such dramatization may involve the injury of another person and render him or her less unconscious. So now you say you have a mother or father. They're under stress, aren't they? They're under stress. Now they go into what's called dramatization, right? Because if they're stressed, they've fallen below 2.0, yes?
Absolutely.
Once they fall below 2.0, that's when the engrams click on, right? So such dramatization may involve the injury of another person. So that's when dad gets home, he's mad, and then he beats everyone in the house, right?
Right.
So now the children are rendered unconscious or semi-unconscious. And you have, and this could be one of the reasons why men don't cry, because we had fathers say, stop crying before I give you something to cry about.
Yes, sir.
So the unconscious person then receives the engram. So this is how the parent transmits the aberration, they get stressed, they drop down the tone level. Something the child says or does triggers what's taking place. The parent takes it out on the child, and now as they're beating the child, they're inserting what? A circuit.
That's right.
Now the parent becomes a nurse that puts a needle in the brain. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now the child has an engram. Make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Brother
Okay.
Bookman.
Yes.
I was just thinking, even if the father doesn't beat the child but beats the mother, it still affects the child.
Absolutely.
Now, so which flow is that? That would be flow what? Flow
What
zero, flow three is what's done
what
to
what
you.
we see done to someone else.
And so flow two is what we do to someone else, and flow one is what we observe. Is that how is that is, or am I getting them mixed up again? But it's a flow,
Oh,
yes. What you just said is the flow is what we observe being done between other people. You're right and exact with that. Yes, ma'am, most definitely.
That's flow 3.
That's flow three. Okay. No, wait. Flow three is what's been done to us.
No, flow 3 is flow 1 is what's been done to you.
No, remember the numbers going reverse. Three, two, one, and then zero. Who can look it up for us to give us the stable datum on it?
It's 1, 2, 3, and 0 because I always thought 4 is supposed to come after 3, but it goes to 0. It's 1, 2, 3, and 0.
Okay.
is number 3 is what was done to us. Number 2
That
is
is number 3.
what we done to others is number 2. Number 1 is what we have seen done to others.
Really? Oh my
0 is what
goodness.
we do to
Okay,
self.
I stand to be corrected.
No, that's okay. The fact is, in the words of Biggie, if you don't know, now you know.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
can
because they're in
somebody
reverse
repeat one,
order:
two, and
three,
three?
two, three, two, one, and then zero.
So three is
What was done to us.
Mm-hmm.
2 is what we've done to others. 1 is what we see done to others.
Between people. Mm-hmm.
Right. And oh wait. Okay, I just read 2. What we've done to others. Number 1 is what we've seen done to others.
Right.
And
And then
0 is
flow
what we
zero
do.
is what we do to self.
Right.
Brother Lukeman, I'm going to look that up in the book that I have, and
Okay.
let's double check it. And if I see a discrepancy, is it okay if I, raise my hand on it?
By all means, sister. By all means, yes, ma'am.
What book
Thank
do you have, sis?
the that thick what is it? The technical dictionary for
Oh, okay.
Scientology and
Okay, yes, ma'am. Because we want actual facts. We want
Yeah.
receipts. We want
right.
stable data. Yes, ma'am.
All right, yes,
What
sir.
Mhm.
Brother Luke, what other book would it be in?
Um, it could be in the Book of Basics, the red book,
I don't have that.
Scientology 0 to 8 Book of Basics.
Oh,
It could possibly be so it'll be anywhere that discusses the four flows.
okay.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Very welcome. Okay. So then we go to it says, is this the only way in which contagion gets about? Name two other methods discussed in the reading. Okay. Did anyone find that in the reading?
Mm.
I guess I gotta answer all the questions, huh? We didn't do the questions.
I have my book here.
Okay. But understand these questions don't come, these aren't questions from the extension course.
No, I mean I have my textbook.
Okay. So
Um,
so
so
where it says, is this the only way in which contagion gets about? Name two other methods discussed in the reading. So if you go to the next paragraph, it says, this is not the only way contagion of aberration gets about. People on operating tables under anesthetic are subjected to the more or less aberrated conversation of those present. It says
Right.
right.
this conversation enters into this unconscious person as an engram. Similarly, At the scene of accidents, the emergency nature of the experience may excite people into dramatizations, and if a person is unconscious because of the accident, an engram is received.
Yes.
Okay.
That's number 3. That's the third one.
That would be for question number 2.
Yes, sir.
Question number 3 is easy. Where does a child get their engrams from? Aberrated parents.
Sir.
Right.
So now if you look at that, we get it from our aberrated parents, but where did they get it from?
Their
parents.
parents.
Aberrated parents. So now we're going back over the 19 generations, aren't we?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, because so many people have been said to the children, "I'll beat the black off you."
Mm-hmm.
Would that make an engram? And where did it? Could that have started from the slave master?
It could be part of it. If someone's getting if they're getting the black beat off of them while they're saying that, then yes. Somehow now so now let's look at that. Okay, let's look at that because it's interesting. Because remember, the reactive mind is going to take things literally, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible? Is it possible? If someone has that circuit, I'm going to beat the black off of you. Is it possible that that could be the underlying root as to why people bleach their skin?
Absolutely.
If because the reactive mind takes things literally, doesn't it?
Yes.
So I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's a possibility. Because
And
we have
basically,
these circuits, we have these recordings, but the reactive mind takes it
Literally.
literally. So if someone says, stop crying before I give you something to cry about,
mm-hmm.
then no matter how much pain we're in as men, we won't cry.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was part of a circuit while we were getting the snot beat out of us. That's the circuit that was linked in. Stop crying.
That's right. Brother Lukman,
Yes, sir.
asked that question, my mind also went to the Isle of Patmos.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard that phrase, get the beat black off of you, it made me think about separating the brown from the black.
Mm-hmm.
And just the trauma that was taking place on the island. Now, in the other one where it speaks about the emergent situation, I had a question about that. This particular one.
Mm-hmm.
In that emergent situation, can the emergency of the situation minus the unconsciousness? I mean, you have to have the unconsciousness for the engram, but does the person have to be unconscious to be aberrated?
Not necessarily, and I'll explain why. And anyone who has some other data to add to it, just jump in. You can have an accident, not be unconscious, but that accident could be a key in,
Right.
or it could be a lock. But in order for that key in and lock to have effect, it has to be resting upon an engram that's already present.
Right.
Okay. So 9 times out of ten, when a person's in a car accident, and I mean, the past 5 years, it seemed like there's been an increase in car accidents, and it's because people are so aberrated, they're making mistakes and doing, they're on their cell phones and whatnot. But what happens is when one car collides into another, you have to understand when there's a car accident, there's 3 collisions that take place. Has anyone ever heard that before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there's 3 collisions. There's the car that hits the car, the body hits the car, and then your organs hit the organs.
Mm.
That's what a concussion is. A concussion is when the brain rattles around and hits the inside of the skull. Is that right, Sister Peggy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for every collision, there's actually 3 collisions. Car hits car, then the body might hit the steering wheel. So the body hits the car, and then your organs are gonna hit, your heart, your lungs might hit up against the ribs. Okay. That in and of itself can cause a momentary lapse of consciousness. And this is why, unless you've ever seen this before, as soon as we come to the scene of a car accident, The person behind the wheel, they're in a daze or in a stupor. Their body's there, but they're not there at that moment in time. Their reactive mind is clicked on. So me with the tech, and there's just no way to get around it because at the scene you got people shouting. This person is getting all these circuits. And so what I was trying to do is not to be as verbal with the person until I could see that they were back in present time. But when you got lights and sirens, you got bystanders. Well, I saw everything, and they did. You got to realize all this is being recorded.
Important.
If the accident isn't that bad, where the person isn't unconscious, you're not going to get an engram because the engram you need a moment of unconsciousness. You need a circuit. And since there's no mystery God, there has to be a person
Right.
that produced the circuit, right?
That's right.
Okay. The circuits don't, just like there's not a mystery God, there's not a mystery devil. Okay. So the engram is composed of a moment of unconsciousness, a circuit, and a person or a valence. The key in is the first lock on the chain. The key in is a moment of emotional pain, but it's going to have something in common with the elements of that engram. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Did I answer the question?
Yes, sir.
Please be to Allah.
Yes, sir. Thank
Sister
you.
Peggy, you're very welcome. Sister Peggy.
So when one becomes clear, they're only clear on the first. See, that's why I got it mixed up too. I thought the first flow has something to do with something similar to the first dynamic. So when you're clear, you're clear on the first dynamic, which doesn't have anything to do with the first flow.
But
No,
well,
no. The four flows are addressed. Now I'm giving this based on my understanding of what I've studied because obviously I'm not clear yet, but it's based on the four flows on the first dynamic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In
The
other
first.
words, all that stuff is removed on the first dynamic. So
Oh,
when you're making your decisions, you're not making your decisions based on circuits. So I'll give an example. And if you go back to the Zoom meeting we did a little while ago, it was called the concept of clear. And that's when we invited members of the nation that were actually at a state of clear. And I think it was Sister Eugenia. I think I asked her the question. And so I said, so you can still become angry because we have this thing of you're clear and you're not angry. And it's like, no, you can still become angry. And I think I joked around. I said, so you can still be angry and cuss somebody out, but it's you cussing them out and not the circuit, not the valence of someone else. This is your cussing out. And then I think she started laughing.
Yes, sir.
But clear doesn't mean that everything is peaches and cream and everything is ponies and butterflies. It's no, you can still get angry, but your reactive mind is like the best way I can explain it without experiencing it. Even though I'm experiencing certain levels of not getting angry going through the SRD is like the burning bush the minister teaches us about. God is emotional, but he doesn't allow his emotion to consume him. Does that make sense? When you understand the dynamics of what that really is, study guide number 18 is really describing to us the concept of clear. It's the ability to deal with things without allowing and the minister speaks about the amygdala in study guide number 18, rising above emotion into the mind of thinking of God, where you have this circuit of memory is not connected to your amygdala. The amygdala is like the reactive mind. The amygdala sees everything as a threat. And there's a saying that if everything is a nail, if all you got is a hammer, then everything is a nail, right? So we react to everything based on what has happened to us. That's really the memory connecting to the amygdala. But when you go through the tech, you learn how to detach that part of the limbic system so that you don't allow the amygdala to engage in anything. And you're able to look at things in a way and you don't allow your emotion to color your viewpoint. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's like in our teachings, we were told that a time will come, someone will spit in your face, and you'll be able to have to take that without responding, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, I know that I'm not at that point yet. I'm not clear, but that's where we hopefully would need to get to be, because
That's
we
right.
might be in a situation where we get emotional. That could be the end of us. And I think of the example. I want to use the minister as an example. Remember the story he told that he was pulled over in the vehicle
Yes.
and the cop made him get out, and I think the cop wanted to search the car. And Minister Farrakhan said he remained calm,
Yes.
and he even offered to help him. And the cop said, "You're just being too damn helpful."
Right.
And the minister said that he handled that in such a way. I'm paraphrasing it. He said, but if you look at the fact that the minister is still here and the cop probably isn't, that to me is an example of tone 40 on an individual.
Yes, sir.
That's a burning bush that perhaps is feeling the emotion, but doesn't allow the emotion to produce behavior that will give a devil justification to put a bullet in us, right?
That's right.
Does that all make
Take
sense,
one.
family?
Yes,
Yeah, you take one and
Brother Lukeman,
see
I
another day.
Wait, hold up. Sister Sophie, you had something?
Yeah, it's like you just take one, so you get to see another day.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is really that's one of the things I'm learning going through the SRD. You can observe things and see a lot of us get angry because we allow our ego to get in the way. Well, damn it, don't be talking to me like that. I'm such and such and so and so. And that's what gets us in trouble, you know. But if we can encounter certain things, it doesn't mean we become punctified. It means now we address it with wisdom. So,
Yes.
so someone says X, Y, and Z will say, let me explain it to you like this. This is what you said. This is why you're incorrect. And this is why we need to address that. That's what they call part of your TRs, isn't it? For those that have studied the TRs, you're handling the origination of someone else. And if we understand if the majority of the people that we come in contact with are between 2.0 and 2.0 and 1.1, then we realize the majority of people we're talking to are either they're antagonistic or they're being hostile. By us remaining calm in our language is we maintain our own atmosphere. Then when they come into our atmosphere, they have to submit to the laws of our universe. And that's how we do what's called tone 40 on an object or tone 40 on another person. The way the book reads is, and I remember it with the word SORE, SORE. You don't, when you deal with a person and they're acting emotional, you don't allow yourself to be, the O stands for overwhelmed. RE stands for re-stimulated, and the S, I think, stands for suppressed. You don't allow another person to suppress you, overwhelm you, or re-stimulate you. That's the word SORE. That's what Tone 40 is. And if you want to learn how to do it, watch any of the ministers' interviews, Donahue, Barbara Walters. And there's times when individually you might look and you get angry just at the way they're handling the minister. But then you look how the minister so skillfully handles them and takes their own words. It's like taking the switch out of someone's hands and whipping them with their own switch. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
But that's what we have to learn how to do. It's really SRD really is rising above emotion into the mind and thinking of God. It's the same principle. Just the SRD teaches us the mechanics and the formula as to how that works. Sister Tina, you have something else?
Yes, sir. I found it. It's it's in the Dianetics and Scientology Technical Dictionary on page 165.
Okay.
And it says flow one, something happening to self. Flow two, flow two is doing something to another. Flow three, is others doing something to others. And no, flow 3 is others doing things to others. And flow 0 is self doing something to self.
Okay, so now we have conflicting data.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
We have
uh,
conflicting data.
And Brother Lukeman, what I want to say is that um, whatever, if the data is what you're saying, then my video that I did when I did my presentation that time,
Mm-hmm.
I did it based on this information. So if they've changed it or whatever, that video needs to be taken down because
Well,
it would be
well,
incorrect.
well, Sister Tina, I'm gonna say this because we're always taught about straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it matters which one is which. This is just me, and this is nothing against you, Sister Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because based on what you have, it could have been revised, but the bottom line is the flows haven't changed.
Right.
Yeah.
So the order of them to me doesn't make a difference as long as you understand the flows. The order is not relevant.
Okay. Well, Brother Lukeman,
but
I really humbly disagree because mistakes shall not resist. Mistakes will not shall not resist in the nation of Islam. And if um my video is out of order, I request that it be taken down because it will not be correct. See,
Okay.
Sister Tina,
Okay,
yeah,
let me address this. So, Sister Tina, where did you just get that data from? You got it
the
from what?
data is from the Dianetics and Scientology Technical Dictionary on page 165.
Okay, so the only point I'm trying to make is you could be correct and we could be wrong because he did revise certain things over the years. So it is
Mm,
possible that you're correct and we're not. So there lies, and I will take this upon myself to verify what is the proper sequence because the Nation of Islam is all wise and we do everything right and exact,
yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
So I will verify. I have no problem doing it. I'll verify which one because if you look in the book of basics, the red book, Scientology, I think it's 0 to 8 book of basics,
Mhm.
even the auditor's code changed over time.
Mm-hmm.
The chart, the tone scale changed over time. So I will get the actual facts. I will get the senior data to find out what is being used in 2026 so that we have the actual facts of how that the four flows should be understood.
Yes, sir.
I
Okay.
would I will because that's how we got to do things. But I know based on what I've read, it went 3, 2, and 1 and 0. And obviously both can't be
but
the four flows are the same. It's just that the order, the sequence is different. That's all.
hmm And that makes a difference. It really
but
does.
okay, excuse me.
Go ahead, Sister Patricia.
So okay, what Sister Tina? Can you read 0?
0 is the same in both. 0 is flow. 0 is self doing something to self.
Okay.
Okay, so I had said 0 was what we do to self,
Okay.
and I think it was the same for the other three because one I said was what we. Hold on, let me put my glasses on. What we see done to others. So what you said was what for number one, Sister Tina?
Number 1, flow 1 is something happening to self.
Okay. All right. I didn't hear anything the same because I thought you were saying the same thing I was saying, but
Mm.
it was just different words.
What she has is the reverse order. So what I'll do is I will get verification on what is because it could have just been revised. They could have just changed the order for whatever reason. we'll get
Yeah,
the actual facts on it. But if Sister Tina's reading it from that book, and that book is the most
Mhm.
recent revision of the tech,
Mhm.
then it's probably that she's correct and we're not.
I'll
Yes,
actually take a
I
picture of it and send it to you later on, Brother
Oh
Lukman.
no, I believe you.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe you,
Brother
Sister.
Lukman, what is the copyright on the book that she has?
Exactly. That's my point. We just got to verify the dates and see what's the most recent one. That's okay. We don't need to beat the dead
okay.
horse on this one. I'll get the actual facts and I'll make sure we all get it so we can all be on the same sheet of music. That's not a problem.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Thank you.
Mhm.
Praise.
Thank you,
May,
Sister
may
Tina.
I may I offer a suggestion?
Go ahead, Sister Angela.
You know, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad stopped for women. Stop for women. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us to study the white man and how he do business because he makes no excuses.
Mhm.
He wants this wouldn't be a board meeting. You know, when things change, we just put up a disclaimer or we offer the new information in the comments if it's on YouTube. You don't have to take the video down. You could
Right.
just offer whatever is new as a disclaimer.
Yes. Because how many people's lives have you benefited by that video?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and how many lives can be,
Right.
aberrated because they,
Right.
say, oh, this ain't right.
I want to say it like this, Sister Tina. This is just me. This is just my opinion. As long as we understand the four flows,
Yeah.
I don't think the order matters, but we will correct that part.
Yes, sir. All praise.
We'll
Luke
correct that
one,
part.
though, Brother Luke one. He said even if it's not done correctly as far as the asking of the questions, he said any amount of auditing would help a person and not
That's
harm
what
a
he
person.
that's what he says. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I have to go, but Assalamu
Okay.
alaikum. And make sure you upload this so I can watch it.
Yes, ma'am. I will do that.
Assalamu alaikum.
Like,
Well, yes, sir. All right, Brother Lukman. Praise be to Allah. I'm glad I'm on this one because
no,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
fine. That's fine. Okay, so let's. I'm not gonna go question by question. I want to touch on. Let's see. Let's touch on this one. Let's see. Um, let me see here. Okay, I want to touch on this part right here.
Yes, sir.
Um, uh, okay, where it says,
Primitive. So
where it says, wait a minute. There is one part here, and the question is, how does this statement explain the enslavement by the slave? So when you look at primitive societies being subject to much mauling by the elements, have many more occasions for injury than civilized societies. When I was reading this, I was thinking about the hills and caves of Europe.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then it says, moved out of his restimulative area and taught English, he would escape the penalty of much of his reactive data. So now here, my thought process was this. If we were moved out of his restimulative area, well, isn't that part of the problem of the uncle of W.D. Farrar? He lived
Yeah,
in the wilderness of North America and he lived other than his own self.
that's right.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what do you think would happen to us? What do you think would happen to us? I'm gonna pose this as a question for discussion. What do you think would happen to us if we were able to change our environment and then we begin to speak our own language?
We
Because
would.
part of our aberration is based on English, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just like L. Ron Hubbard came up with his own language for the tech to circumvent aberrative language,
Mhm.
since none of us were ever aberrated in Arabic, if
Right.
we began to learn our language, we would not be restimulated, would we?
Right. We
Makes
during
sense,
become
a
right?
different
gods again quicker.
Say what?
We would become
during a
gods
different
again quicker.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
during a different during original language. what does that do to the mind?
Our original language, what does it do to the mind?
To our mind, yes.
I'll explain it. I'll explain it like this. Again, this is just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Most High Elijah Muhammad said on page 9, Message to Black Man. He says, the first God, and I'm paraphrasing it, first God we know physically is no longer present, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But he says his person exists in his people today, yes?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, keep that in your mind. Sister Ava said in the interview we showed where she talked about Egypt, y'all remember that clip we watched of Sister Ava? She talked about she was looking at she was looking at the statues in the tomb in the pyramids, and it looked like us, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And then she said that you're not 30 or 40 years old, but you're 76 or even 78 trillion years old. Do you remember her saying that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, if the Thetan or the self
Mm-hmm.
or Allah says that he breathed his spirit into man, then if Allah put his spirit into Adam or Allah put his spirit into man, then Allah comes in the person of a man, right? Or of a woman, yes?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, based on the words of the Most High Elijah Muhammad, that can be traced back 76 trillion years, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, we know the original language was Arabic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my opinion is this, my thought process is this. And some of us have experienced this in doing word clearing. And if you've experienced this, you can bear witness to it. But I know at least a couple of us have experienced this. When doing word clearing,
Mhm.
you have had cognitions, you have awakened old thoughts that you never thought before just by clearing words that you never used before.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Who has experienced that?
I
I,
Yes.
have.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
You've had, maybe that's what made Malcolm such a good orator because he studied the dictionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But we know it wasn't just because he studied the dictionary. That was part of it. He was connected to the Most High Elijah Muhammad. He didn't become wise from a dictionary.
right.
Right.
So I don't want that to go out. He just became so wise because he studied dictionary. But I'll say that his reading the dictionary was part of the process that made him a good orator. Could we agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I say that to say this. If we begin to study the Arabic language and start clearing words in Arabic, what type of epiphanies will we start to have? What type of cognitions what dormant thoughts, concepts, or ideas might reawaken because now we are actually going back to learn our original language? What if it reawakens some dormant data that's stored?
Mm.
Just a
I
thought.
think
Absolutely.
it would also quicken our God essence as well, or
Mhm,
enhance our God essence.
mhm. Why do we have such the reaction when we hear the call to prayer in Arabic? Why
Hmm.
does it reverberate and harmonize with us in such a way that almost brings up emotion and tears and happiness when we hear that when it's done properly?
Yes, sir.
You know,
Like
Brother
music.
Lukman, I want to give an example of that.
Hmm.
And it's about uh myself, Brother Robin. May Allah be pleased with him.
Hmm.
We were in a course room in Atlanta. I know I was studying the science of survival. I think he was studying the same thing at the same time. And we were both in a course room just crying and crying and crying because it was showing us, the language was showing us what we have experienced in the mosque. And it was, it's like we don't know what the heck we were doing, but it made it clear what was actually happening in so many different situations. But it was just so powerful. We were
Hmm.
crying. We were just crying just from what we were studying.
Hmm.
So I understand exactly what you're saying.
Hmm. Yes, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sister Patricia. Sister Peggy, you had your hand up? You're on
Mhm.
mute.
So I was wondering when we learn Arabic, when the nation, if you learn Arabic in the nation, so what kind of Arabic is that?
What do you mean? What kind of Arabic?
I mean, aren't there different types of Arabics,
Well, you,
dialects?
yes. You have what's called classical. Now, I'm not an expert on this. I know a little bit. There's the classical Arabic, which is, from my understanding, what the Holy Quran is written in.
Right.
Then you have what's called conversational Arabic, but then you
And
have different dialects.
right. So generally, which one does the nation teach? If I think at one time they used, you could pull up the free classes, free Arabic classes.
Hmm.
So do you know what that was? Was that
Actually, no, no, ma'am. I actually don't, because I know the one thing I do know. If I believe I could be correct on this. If you deal with the Arabic, like from Persia or the other different countries, there's some slight differences and nuances, and there's even some Arabic letters that are in addition to or different from the Arabic we know from Holy Quran.
Mhm.
So which one in particular, that I would not be able to answer. I don't know.
Because I was kind of wondering if we have Islam taught by Master Farad Muhammad, then wouldn't the Islam that they learn by them speaking Arabic, wouldn't it be different? Just because, for instance, when I was in high school, I took a class. I was taking there was a young woman in our class who was from Jordan. She was actually Palestinian. Her mother would teach me Arabic.
Hmm.
They would tell me that if you go to Egypt, there's going to be a different kind of Arabic because they have their own language. That's what
Different
they
dialects,
have
different
their
dialects.
own language.
Hmm.
So, so when we learn Arabic, so what Arabic do we learn?
That's a good question. I know at the firehouse, we have one of the guys from firehouse. His family was from uh, Peru. You had one brother was from Nicaragua, and you have different types of Spanish.
Yeah.
There's certain things you could say in Spanish, but if you said it, there's certain things you could say to someone who might be considered Puerto Rican, and you say the same thing to someone who's Mexican, and those are fighting words. And I remember years ago, when I was in college, I was learning Spanish, but in college they teach what's called Castilian, which is European Spanish. And I was working with what they call it, at a migrant Head Start program. So I was working with migrant families, and I knew my Spanish was superb, but they would look at me and say, "Okay." They didn't understand what I was saying, and I just knew my Spanish, because you know
So
it's different dialects.
when I learned to speak Spanish, our teachers uh, taught us American Spanish.
Hmm.
Spanish in the Americas. We didn't learn European Spanish.
Hmm.
We weren't going to be dealing with people that generally spoke European, so we would learn um, American Spanish
Hmm.
that they teach in Mexico or South
Hmm.
America or the Spanish-speaking countries, but not in Europe. So we would learn
Hmm.
American. Well, she called it American Spanish.
But even that, there's just so many different variations. You
Mhm.
have people that are from Puerto Rico, and then you got Puerto Ricans that live in Brooklyn, and they speak different Spanish. There's a difference in the Spanish that's spoken, So that's a good question. Which Arabic? That's a good question. Sister
The
Jasmine.
reason I
Oh, go ahead.
asked
Sorry.
that, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
The reason I asked that is because if they're using words that are antithetical to our rise, then what would be the point of us even learning it?
The Spanish
No, the Arabs.
or the Arabs?
Because
Well,
they're not, you know, there's a reason why Master Farad Muhammad gave us the Islam
hmm
that was different, a little bit different.
hmm
So I was just thinking that,
that was our prescription.
yeah, our prescription. So in speaking their language, wouldn't we still get engrams?
No, because we've never been aberrated. We don't have any circuits in Arabic.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, we don't have any circuits. You know, the only way we would have a circuit in Arabic is someone was beating the hell out of us and then speaking Arabic at the same time. Now we have an engram that has a circuit in Arabic.
Right.
Yeah, but we wouldn't. It's not the language that's aberrated. It's the activities of what takes place in the culture. So individuals that if they're in the environment where they speak Arabic, their circuits are going to be in Arabic because that's the language in which the circuits were implanted. Does that make sense? So for us, the language is not going to cause restimulation because we have no Arabic circuits. Our circuits are in English.
Mm.
Make sense? Sister Jaslyn, you had your hand up?
Yes, sir. I was just gonna make a suggestion.
Mhm.
We do have our national imam, Brother Sultan, that teaches Arabic, and several of
Mhm.
the students, have done Arabic recitations. That could be a question that he might be able to answer if someone
Yes.
would reach out to him and ask him what is the Arabic that we will be learning, since he is the imam
Yes,
and he
ma'am.
does speak fluent Arabic.
And then very beautiful. I love listening to him. He handles them. He handles them Arabic because you got there's four letters in Arabic that they're not in English, and it's like learning the pronunciation. Um, but hearing his recitation is actually very, very peaceful. Absolutely correct. Anyone else before we start to land this plane?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, brother Fatah.
Yes, sir. When the sister asked the question about language and what it does, I had an experience when I was 7. At present, I'm a Spanish teacher. I teach at a high school.
Oh, great.
And I was 7 years of age, and my mother and my father, we would laugh about this, but I was 7 and I was speaking with them, and I said, I can speak Spanish. And I said, caraca, caraca, caraca. Now, I never, growing up, I knew that was funny for me because I didn't know what I was saying and what was motivating me to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 2024, I'm a bilingual instructor in a elementary school, and a Dominican woman heard me share. I shared this story with her,
Mm-hmm.
and she sent me a picture of an eagle, and it was a caraca bird,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the eagle that's on the Mexican flag.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you must have been tuning into your purpose at that young age. And it made me think about when Master Farad Muhammad was 6, or when I was around that age when I said this. But back then, as I learned now, that was the eagle, and the high school I got my first position teaching Spanish, De Soto Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if we do learn another language, particularly our own language, we'll definitely be more in tune with who we are,
Mm-hmm.
at least on that level. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's Spanish, not just.
Brother, it's funny that you say that, and I'll share this. I'll share this brief story. At the org in Tampa, the large portion of the Scientologists down there speak Russian. Now, I think I shared with the believers before about an experience I had with a place called Turkov. Does everyone remember that story? Place called Turkov?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And that experience has something to do with the Russian language, didn't it? For those that remember. Um, one day I'm sitting in the Tampa org and I'm hearing this Russian language and it's having some type of an effect on me, like it almost sounds familiar. And it was very strange. It begins, I can't explain it, but it was almost a part of me had heard that language before. And somehow I think it's somehow connected to that experience that I shared.
Yes.
And for those that want to hear the story, I have no problem sharing it.
Please.
Uh, um,
Would love to hear it.
Yes.
okay, Sister Tina.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
brother. Oh,
What you just said about the language, you had said something that in the dream or the vision or something, the language came to you in a certain way. But what I wanted to ask
Mhm,
is, do refresh my memory if I'm wrong.
mhm,
The minister, when he had his vision like experience, when the
mhm.
scroll came down, did he say it was in Arabic?
I can't remember if he said it was in Arabic.
He said cursive.
It was
Cursive.
in cursive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. So, right. All right. That's what I wanted to know. Okay.
No, thank you. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Sister Heidi and then Brother David. You're on mute, Sister Heidi. You're still on mute. Go ahead, Brother Dave. Oh, there she is.
Oh,
Okay.
were you talking to me? I had walked out. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Your hand is up.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. So I was thinking about when you brought that up about a past life. When I first started into the auditor's course and I was listening to the introductory lectures, and Ron Hubbard, was mentioning that um, they just somehow, when they started auditing people, they somehow tapped into that,
Mm-hmm.
to the past lives. And he said he was auditing a man, and he had went it back as far as this man is saying he could see himself being fed on by a saber-toothed tiger. And he said, well, we know, he said, well, hold up, because we've been taught somebody's not telling the truth. Like, science has told us that the man and these animals, saber-toothed tiger, mammoths, we weren't alive during that time.
Mm-hmm.
But here, this guy was saying that he's being fed on by a saber-toothed tiger.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like he was not bear witnessing, but he was kind of, yeah, I guess you could say that. He was confirming that we had been here a while, right? Without even saying it. But he was also saying that the things that the science is telling us have been lies. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody had said, and then maybe it was in this group, that a large percentage, that the messenger said a large percentage of science was lies. And then the other portion is somewhat the truth. So
Mm-hmm.
not just what made me, when you talked about the past, when you had your story, which that just gave me chills. It just made me think about that story that he was saying
Mm-hmm.
about the auditing, and how the auditing can bring up certain stuff
Mm-hmm.
in us. So yeah, anyway,
You
just
know,
thought.
yeah, thank you, Sister Heidi. You know, Mother Tanetta Muhammad, there's a video clip. It's called The Originators. It's on YouTube. And she talks about the fact that Master From Muhammad and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, she said that Master From Muhammad had the ability to be in multiple places at the same time, number one. And she said they had the ability to time travel and go into different dimensions. Now that's a heavy pill to swallow.
Yes, sir.
That's a heavy pill to swallow. And the thing is, if we're being raised up into the circle, that means at a certain time we would have those same abilities.
That's right.
So when these things start happening, is not something to be afraid of. That should give us more inspiration to strive to be even more righteous, to be even more righteous tomorrow than we were today.
Come on.
Because the closer we get into our righteousness and leaving this world behind, the more we're allowed to evolve into a higher realm of understanding. Because we're told, this is, if you go in the very opening of Closing the Gap, it talks about how, and I think I'm trying to paraphrase it. I can't remember the exact words, but the concept is this: the goal the goal of Minister Farrakhan is the same goal of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is the same goal of Master Muhammad, and that is to evolve us into being God. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We are supposed to be growing into the circle of God is not going to be 24. We're all going into that circle, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, when you look at the things that are described that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has done and what he's growing to do now, and what Minister Farrakhan is growing to do, and what the Savior has the ability to do, that is our destination, but we got to maintain the course. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
And we
Yes,
can't
sir.
get spooky with it, but we're going to begin to have these experiences, and some of our experiences are going to be similar, and then some of our experiences are going to be unique just to us for us as an individual.
Yes, sir.
So you might not experience what I experienced, but if once you describe what you're going through, that what might awaken something in me, and as I'm describing something, it awakens something in you. And my thought is this: as long as we can go back and verify that Mother Tanetta Muhammad has said it, Brother Jabril has said it, Sister Ava has said it, the minister has said it,
Mm-hmm.
then as long as we can collect our receipts, because I don't think Sister Ava would have said anything that would have been in opposition to what the minister has taught. Mother Tanetta would not. So all of them drink from the same source, correct?
Yes, sir.
But Mother Tanetta Muhammad did say certain things could not be taught because there's certain things the Most High, he was already aware of these things, but we as Muslims are too spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Thus is where we get the concept of the bean soup scientist. So if you go back to the Zoom meeting, we had that one thing, it was called the bean soup scientist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why certain things can't be spoken about in a large, because you have some of us just spooky.
You know, brother
Go ahead, sister.
Lukman,
Go ahead.
a lot of what you're talking about the about out of body experiences, we as a group of sisters were discussing it on with Sister Inyame, and we
Mhm.
found out that what happens is that as a child you experience it and don't know what you're experiencing, and
Yes.
then when you try to share it, people think that something's wrong with you or tell you you didn't experience that, so then you feel like, oh well, maybe I didn't, so you negate it, and it never it does, it stops happening. But
Mhm.
if we were like given courage to actually realize that yes, you did that, oh okay, that did happen to you,
Mhm.
so you wouldn't be so fearful of telling someone else that it happened. But a lot of us have experienced it, but we don't want to feel ostracized
Mhm.
into thinking that something's wrong with us by having that kind of an experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why there's certain conversation you have to have with certain people, and
Right.
certain conversation you don't have with people because they'll either invalidate you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or that's called enforced ARC or inhibited ARC. So certain things, like there's certain things I experience, I only discuss them with certain people because I know certain people, if I say certain things, if I already know you're going to validate it, I'm not going to waste my time talking about it.
Mhm.
And that's why I have always tried to let this forum be open so that we can discuss certain things. So that if individuals wanted to discuss certain things, we put the recording on pause and we discuss it so that you realize you're experiencing And then you think you're the only one going through it, and then you see five other hands go up, and then you realize, no, you're not crazy. You're experiencing what other people are experiencing, but they can't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
See, we can applaud when the minister, yeah, that's the minister. But and I'm not trying to equate us with the minister, but our experiences, we can have spiritual experiences too. And that's the part of growing into God is growing out of the thoughts of where we used to be. It's our thoughts that keep us from evolving spiritually. The more we look at ourselves as this physical body, then we can only do what physical bodies do. Eat, sleep, sit around, look at TV, use a cell phone.
You're back at the science of the mind, Brother Lukman.
Say what?
I said you're back at the science of the mind.
This mind is a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. If you want, I'm telling you, if you've never experienced it, just try to experience it one time. Just relax. Don't move a muscle. Just let it happen. And I'm telling you, I'll explain it like this. Imagine experiencing a moment where there's no pain, no sorrow, no anger, no hurt. All you do is experience pure bliss. And the point is, once you experience that, your life is changed. Your life is changed when you have that experience. Because then you realize that all the pain and hurt and suffering you're experiencing, if that's wrapped up in your physical body, then if you're allowed to step outside of that for just a moment in time, you will leave all that stuff behind.
Yeah.
And then, if you want to take it to the next level, when you come in contact with people in your dreams, and I'm not saying you come in contact with people, but you have individuals there, when you get to a certain level where you can start posing questions, you'll be astounded at some of the responses. And I'm not saying I've mastered this. I have not mastered this. There's a book that I bought. I studied the book. I know what my spirit, what my mind and it just is something that's within that guides. Self-accusing spirit is what guides, reproves, and teaches, right?
Mm.
Okay. I'm a firm believer, just my humble opinion, that anything we want to learn, I believe the scientists, because we're told we'll be taught by scientists during that 20-year period, right? I believe the scientists are teaching us right now. Anything we put our mind to learn, have you not experienced learning something and it feels as if someone's present showing you something you've never seen before? Has anyone experienced that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Okay. So if
Or
you're learning something, hmm?
directing you from point A to point B to point C to
Yes,
keep
ma'am.
going.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am. A law teaches man by the pen what man knew not. So I believe, this is just my humble opinion. I believe any person that puts forth the effort to study whatever it is they want to study, I believe the scientists are already teaching. That's just me, based on my experience. And that don't make me nothing. It's just we all have that ability. It's just that we have to learn how to listen.
Brother Lukman, didn't it say somewhere that when the student's ready, the teacher will
The
appear?
teacher will appear.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am. So the
Praise be
scientists,
to Allah.
I believe the scientists are already teaching us. We just don't realize it yet. And each one of us is being taught the lesson. And I'll say this last part, and then we'll get ready to close it out. The lesson said, no one can be successful unless they speak the people's language, right?
Mm.
So for me, the language that I'm most comfortable with is mathematics.
Mm.
Don't understand. I don't know why, but I do know for a fact that my dad happened to be had a background in accounting. He was real good with numbers. And I remember the very first day I got my first math book. That
Mm.
was that was March the 6th, 82 on a Saturday. He
Mm.
gave me my first math book. So I believe I was, me personally, it was something. Yaku played with two pieces of steel. I played with math books when I was little. That's what I did.
Mhm.
Sister Jaslyn, her language might be
Oh,
poetry. You know, it's because poetry is mathematics when you understand it.
That's right.
Each one of us has a unique relationship with Allah. We all have our own language, but He knows how to speak all of them. That's just my opinion. That's just how I look at life. Sister Hazel, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Um, First, I'd like to say thank you. I have been wanting to come to your Zoom for a while, but when I hear math, I freeze because
Engrams. I know.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Being Caribbean, um, coming from Trinidad, I was literally beat in order to learn math. So there's a major fear there. But when you were speaking, uh, Dr. Dilbert Blair came up. I used to listen to him many, many years ago.
Isn't that like that brown skinned brother who's always talking
Mm-hmm.
about the mind? Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. And I'm like, wow, there's no coincidence. I just finally purchased my book about Willie Lynch. I have my Dianetics books, and it's just, I'm ready and it's time. And thank you because you make learning very comfortable. Like, I'm not afraid to speak. Normally, I'm kind of like the WB Frog, but I found two homes that I'm comfortable with. So thank you, brother.
All praise is due to Allah. We're glad to have you. And if you have any questions, you can always send me an email, and I will always, especially now being retired, I got a lot of time on my hands, so I try to make myself available to the believers when they are going through the tech
Yes.
and the math because I do tutoring, and I can audit those mathematical engrams out of you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, brother David, come on, scientist.
I, thank you, brother. I just wanted to just you were when you were talking about the Russian language thing and some of the other things you said. I had something I wanted to say, but then it triggered all this other thought. Perhaps it's something for offline. I don't know, but I had that I had that experience before. I don't recall going all the way through what you went through, but the first time I had that experience where I was vibrating in the bed, I couldn't move. And after a while, when I was finally able to move, I just sat there. When I was finally able to move, I called my homie and I'm like, bro, did you feel that earthquake? And he said, earthquake? I said, yeah, we just had an earthquake, right? He's like, man, you tripping. Stop all that smoking. Whatever the response was.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I know I ain't going crazy. I felt the whole room shaking. And so I just put that in a Rolodex and left it alone. Then
Hmm.
it's happened twice since. And the two times since I just kind of sat with it. And just hearing you speak about it made me remember it. Because I don't even know, Brother Fatah is my auditor. I don't even know if I shared that with him. If he's still on, he could confirm or not. But I don't think I recalled that until you mentioned that. But why it came up is because, I'm a rideshare driver and I picked up some German folk and they were talking and I understood what they were saying. And I
Oh,
started
wow.
laughing and responded to them in English to what they were saying. And they said, "You speak German?" I said, "No, I don't even know why I understood."
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that was very is very interesting that you were talking to that you brought those two things up because again, even with that German story, I don't even know if I brought that up since before you mentioned something like that.
Hmm.
And the last thing I wanted to say, and this is when you were talking about Mother Tynetta and Dr. Ava and all of them, um, I was wondering, we're on this 25,000 year cycle. But Mother Tynetta mentioned that we were once on a 35,000 year cycle, and Minister Jabril mentioned it
Mm-hmm.
too. That was before the deportation of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it interesting that there's a 35,000 year cycle within that overlaps with the 25,000 year cycle that we're going through. And I'm wondering what's that about, because you mentioned that some scientists were able to see 50,000 years, and there were scientists that could see 150,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
He said this is what Mustafa Muhammad told the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly enough, there's a 10,000 year overlap with the 25,000 year cycle, um, adding up to 35,000 years. And I wonder what relationship um, that is. So those are three thoughts that I had that while you were speaking, I wanted to share with you.
Oh, wow. Now I'm making the assumption that that history you're reciting came from Brother Jabril in what's called Self First, part one, two, and three.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And
That
to
that is
your
a great
point, you said
study. That is
something.
a great study.
It is. That's why I ended up with that framework that, interestingly, what you sent metaphorically about this tonight's discussion overlaps with that. So, we often talk about we're in the same atmosphere, and so we're taking in the information, and whatever is our thing, we pick up on. But after I started doing sessions with Brother Fatah, and I don't think it's no coincidence that that's when that framework came to me, which with dealing with what Minister Jabril talked about in terms of the white man's aim of synthesizing or unifying the four forces.
Mm-hmm.
And then that made me realize, wait a minute, we had an equation the whole time, God equals force and power. And so from there, opened up this whole thing that I believe I shared with you before, but that just kind of bear witness to what you're saying, with some things coming to you after going through some sessions that help maybe deal with whatever that trauma was related to whatever discussion that happened during that particular session. So
Mm-hmm. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Brother David. Just as we're speaking, it reminded me. Does anyone know who the author is of the Russian language? Sister Peggy?
no, sir.
You're on mute, Sister
The one that they give credit to is Alexander Pushkin.
Alexander Pushkin. What descent was he? What was his background?
Oh, he was original.
He was original man, wasn't he?
Yeah, his grandfather is, I think that's the one they call Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not talking about the Hannibal in ancient times, but
Right,
his
right.
name was Hannibal,
Mm-hmm.
and he was from West Africa, I think,
Yeah.
and he was given to the Tsar. I mean, he came from one other European place, no, Turkey. He started out in Turkey, and then eventually he was passed to the Russian Tsar and became something like a godson.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And he was an engineer. Wait a minute. He became an engineer. I'm not sure if I don't want to say self-taught, but he had a natural gift for being an engineer.
Okay.
And they put him when Catherine the Great, before, no, it was Peter the Great. I think it was before Catherine the Great. I think he ran into him and he banished him someplace. But anyway, he was a soldier. He was an officer, and he managed to have a tunnel, not a tunnel, but a trench dug around this island to help win a battle. And so when Peter the Great died, then he was passed on to Catherine the Great,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, that was, and then later on it was his great grandson Alexander Pushkin. But he was a brilliant. Hannibal was brilliant. Self. I don't want to say self-taught, but I know he had this gift for in engineering.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go study that history now. Thank you, Sister Peggy. All
Mhm.
right. I'm saying it's the last time. Sister Tina, you have the last word, and then we're
Okay, yes, sir.
you got it.
Yes, sir. Brother Luke, my Russia, because Russia was mentioned, is that in the Caucasus Mountain where Master Fard Muhammad's mother came from?
No, my understanding is now this is this is what I was someone had shared this with me, and they're gonna try to find the data to verify this. So I haven't heard this from the minister. Um, my understanding is that she was from Azerbaijan. I got to confirm that. And I was also told, and I haven't confirmed it yet, that she was from the lineage of Prophet Muhammad.
Wow.
I heard.
You heard that too?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have the actual facts on that yet, but I will, always we got to have our receipts. But she was from the Caucasus Mountain is my understanding is Azerbaijan, all that area right in there. That's not connected to Russia, but it's like kind of on the border of, if we understand the geography of it. But it almost makes me want to go study Russian just to see if I'm, might trigger something. Who knows?
Yeah. Wow.
So we'll see what happens.
Mm.
Well, all right, family. As always, we had a very lively and inspiring uh, class. We know we won't be here Sunday because we will be hearing live and direct from whomever will be teaching us on Sunday. And then God willing, 2 weeks we'll be back again. And we will continue. So if you get your study guides, go through the chapter.
Brother
And
Luke, excuse me, are you still going to be doing the Quran
what do you mean?
during Ramadan?
Oh, that's right. We used to do our daily reading, didn't we? Um, I might not be able to do it daily because we're going to be on SRD, but I will strive that the days I am not at the org, that we will do our daily reading in the spirit of Brother Robin and Brother Batin, and we're gonna keep that what's the word I'm looking for? That tradition. We'll keep that tradition going. So the days that I'm not on SRD, then I will do my best to do our daily reading. And we were doing that daily at 10 a.m., correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll strive to keep that tradition going. Um, but it's just I got to do that. I would have to do that around my SRD. So, but yes, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for asking.
I
We will strive to
understand.
do it, and we will continue to do the best we can, and in memory of, you know, in memory of our beloved brothers who, Brother Robin used to come on and drop some real heavy jewels on us, and Brother Batin would drop some heavy jewels on us, and their spirit is still with us. So yes, we will continue that tradition. So that's being said and done, family. Let us go ahead and close out in prayer. Attention prayer. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Master the day of judgment in which we now live, the alone do we serve, that aid do we seek. Please, Allah, guide us on the straight path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after hearing thy teaching. Ameen.
Ameen.
Happy Savior's
Ameen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Happy Savior's
Happy
Day.
Savior's
Alaikum
Day.
salam. Happy Savior's Day.
May Allah
Nice
continue to bless
session, Brother
us.
Lukman.
Well,
Very nice session.
Thank you.
happy Savior's Day. Thank you.
Some